Brought to you by Kellogg's Cereals. The best to you each morning from Kellogg's of Battle Creek. And now, let's all play What's My Line? And now, from New York, let's meet our What's My Line panel. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
On my left, our dear friend, star of the new movie Ski Party, lovable Robert Q. Lewis.
Happy Mother's Day. To my left, a lady who is pretty and adorable and charming, and not only that, she's pretty darn smart. Arlene Francis.
Now, I want to say that sales representatives from all over the country are here tonight on behalf of Random House, because they work for Random House, and therefore Bennett Cerf is going to be on his absolutely best behavior. Hooray for that, and here he is, Bennett Cerf.
One more cry, you'll be transferred to Knopf. And now it's my pleasure to introduce probably the least tabescent man in the United States, our rapidly adolescing master of ceremonies, John Charles Daly.
It was great to hear that there was something or somebody or some force that could put Bennett on his best behavior. I'm looking forward to a fine half hour, Bennett.
I bet you don't know what tabescent means.
I don't. I'll admit it. What does it mean?
I like that. Look it up in the American College Dictionary.
It has the sound of something he made up himself. Did you make it up?
Now, it means somebody that's very anemic and emaciated.
You've been looking in the mirror. Huh? Been looking in the mirror and tried to find some word to describe it. Robert Q., you look healthy. It's nice to see you over there.
Thank you. A little tabescent, but otherwise well.
John, he said you were the least
Oh, the least tabescent.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Bennett.
Well, he said you were adolescent.
Well, that
You can't win.
I don't know whether to get up and leave now or stick around for another half hour or so. But I hope that actually you can bring all of these fine talents to bear, because we've got some real good ones for you tonight, and I think that it's going to be a rough half hour, so brace yourselves. We'll also have a famous mystery guest before my friends on the panel a little bit later in the program, and we'll meet our first challenger after. Bob Lewis says that tabesic is a sauce that you put on things to make them taste better. Because that tan of yours is what bothers me. I spent the week in California with the affiliates of the CBS network, and you look twice as brown as I do. I don't know, I'm with the North Pole.
He wasn't with the affiliates.
He wasn't with the affiliates, that adds up. And now let us meet our first challenger. Will you enter and sign in, please? Gloria, Rhoda, and daughters. Fine. You should be tremendously proud. What a lovely, lovely, lovely family.
Well, we have one missing.
Shirley's missing.
The oldest is missing. Yes.
She tripped and fell.
Yes, so we have 6 daughters.
And we hide all of the true facts, right? She just tripped and fell. Where are you from, Mrs. Rhoda?
Fort Slocum, New Rochelle, New York.
Oh, I was at Fort Slocum 10 days, 2 weeks
I
ago.
know you were. Everyone was delighted to have you out there, thrilled to death.
Well, I had to do my 30 days sooner or later. I mean, they were wonderful, wonderful post. It was good to visit with them. And now, Mrs. Rhoda, may I present our panel? And will you join me over here, and we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is.
Thank you.
Mrs. Rhoda, I think perhaps we ought to know all of the contestants. Would you be good enough to identify and introduce all of your lovely daughters tonight?
I would love to. I'm very proud of them. This is Michelle. Then we have Pamela, Gail, Donna, and Karen Sue.
How do you do, ladies? Young ladies.
Mr. Daly.
Very nice to see you all. And that is our panel over there. And we will tell the panel that Mrs. Rhoda and daughters are salaried and deal in a service. And we'll begin the general questioning with Bennett, Cerf.
Mrs. Rhoda, no boys at all?
Well, just the big boy in our family, Daddy.
Well, rivals of the King family. Mrs. Rhoda, do I understand that your lovely daughters all participate in the service that you perform?
Yes, they do.
This has nothing whatever to do with the fact that this is Mother's Day.
No.
Nope. Mm-hmm. This does not have no yes. That's right.
Do you all operate in or near Fort Slocum?
Yes.
Have you got anything whatever to do with the operation of the what goes on at Fort Slocum?
No.
No, they do not. That's 1 down and 9 to go. Miss Kilgallen.
Mrs. Rhoda, do what you and your charming daughters do please and amuse people?
Yes.
Is that the purpose of it?
We would say yes, that the service that is provided certainly would give pleasure, and in some instances it would give a sense of participation and therefore some amusement.
Can't you be amused without participating?
Yes, you can.
Well, since one of the girls fell down, in order that none of the others on the panel should be led into a trap, I would like to ask, do you have something to do with something else than skiing?
Yes.
Is there anything that is connected with music in what you do?
Yes.
Do any of you play instruments?
Yes.
Do,
Let me get in here now. See, I think the question has been answered on a very broad basis. Music can play a part in what they do. They do play the instruments, but this is not to convey to you that this is necessarily an integral part and necessary part of the service that is provided.
Thank you, John. Do you do what you do all together at once?
Yes.
I mean, you don't do the same thing in different places scattered around. Is that correct?
No, we do not, yes.
Do you make appearances before what might be termed audiences?
Yes, we could say that. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you ever sing?
You ever
Do you
sing?
ever sing?
No.
Nope, that's 2 down and 8 to go. Robert Q. Lewis.
Such a lovely family. Mrs. Rhoda, I had a feeling, something about Girl Scout cookies or something. But now I begin to think that maybe you are in some... Is it possible that you work for a profit-making organization?
Yes.
You do? Well, then, is there any chance that in some way you might be connected with the world of entertainment?
Yes.
Is then the Rhoda family perhaps some kind of act, performing in concert? By that I mean together, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Is it a form of act? Now, might the organization for whom you work then be something like either a circus or a, well, let's go with circus.
Good show.
Yeah.
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Pratt.
Well, I don't know who's won it, but you are the Mother of the Year tonight. I will say that for you. When you are doing whatever it is you do people pay to have you do this or receive your service?
No.
Nope. 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Rhoda, when the Rhoda Act is in progress, do you wear some kind of special costumes?
Yes.
Are they different than the costumes that all of your girls would wear when they were walking down Fifth Avenue?
Yes.
Are they more abbreviated?
Yes.
Does the act require some kind of physical dexterity?
Yes.
Are you some kind of an acrobatic act?
No.
No. That's 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Well, now, if you appear before audiences and yet you work for a profit-making organization,
But they don't pay.
people do not pay to see you, does that suggest that the organization pays you to appear in a charitable sense for people?
No.
No. 6 down and 4 to go,
Well,
Mr.
may we have
Lewis.
a clarification of that?
Yeah, that would help. Let's see. They do pay to see you perform, but you...
No, they don't.
They
pay.
do not
I
pay.
beg your pardon,
And this
but
should
you are
suggest
paid.
something to you immediately, but it has not yet, so,
Oh, it should.
yeah?
They are not paid, but people pay to see them.
No, you've got it reversed.
Maybe something with the World Fair. Maybe they do something.
They pay to have people watch them.
People pay to see them, but...
No pay.
John, may I pass to my peers? May I just ask one more question? But wait a minute, they said profit-making organization. That would not be a religious organization.
No.
No, not religious, but world.
Bennett asked World's Fair. Do you have any connection with our...
Thank you very much. 7 down and 3 to go, Miss Brett.
Thanks, Bennett.
Sorry.
I'm going to give you 1 more minute.
When you are in these costumes that are more abbreviated than those that are being worn now, would they be considered bathing suit costumes, bikini costumes of any kind?
No.
Nope. 8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Rhoda, would the costumes be some kind of uniforms?
No. No, the way you ask, it's 9 down and 1 to go, Miss Dorothy.
If we saw the costume, would it be any clue at all to what they did?
No, it could suggest many occupations, really, because what they do is run an exercise class on television, which is why people get to see them. For 3 years, Mrs. Rhoda and these lovely young ladies, including Shirley, who is not here tonight because she had a little accident with a skateboard, and so she's got a busted leg or a bruised leg,
Right.
have been filming a physical fitness show, which goes on television in Connecticut and Ohio
All
and
the way to the
Pennsylvania,
West Coast.
But John,
California.
since we don't see it in New York, shouldn't they all together do one exercise for us?
We don't have our costumes.
Are these isothermic exercises?
Isometric.
Isometric, I mean.
Isothermic.
You
Now-
bet it will now get the American College Dictionary.
Yeah. Good old Quebec over here doesn't want his isothermic. No, in heavenly days, I should say not. May I say, in something more than 15 years, Mrs. Rhoda, we have never had so much beauty at one time on our stage. Thanks to all of you lovely young ladies for coming to see us. It's wonderful to meet you. By the way, Father Rhoda is a commander in the United States Navy and is stationed out at the Defense Information School at Fort Slocum. So
I should think with that brood, he'd have to be a commander.
Yeah, well, we hope he gets 4 stripes. These 4 stripes. Promotion we want. Now let's see what we can do with our next challenger. Will you enter and sign in, please? Brackets. Hill. Is that right, sir? All right. And Mr. Hill, where are you from?
Tilton, New Hampshire.
Tilton, New Hampshire. Well, the home of Tilton School. Well, that's very nice indeed. Good to have you with us, Mr. Hill. I think we might as well confess that Mr. Hill is class of 27. I'm class of 30 at Tilton School. Right, sir? And now may I present our panel? Will you join me over here, Mr. Hill, and we'll see if the folks at home and the folks in the audience do not get some fun out of what your line really is. All right. Panel, we can tell you that Mr. Hill is salaried and he deals in a service. To be sure, there is involved in a degree here, a product, but basically it's a service. And we'll begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Mr. Hill, is what you do at Tilton something for the boys?
No, that's one done a night ago, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Hill, can we rule out any connection with this school that produced the gentleman sitting next to you?
Any connection at all?
No, I mean, if you're not on the faculty or not on the staff.
Yes,
of
you
Tilton
can rule
School.
that out. Mm-hmm.
But does the service that you perform sometimes apply to people at the Tilton School?
Yes, occasionally.
Do you work for a non-profit making organization?
Yes, sir.
A non-profit making? No.
Excuse me,
Non-profit.
Or what you do,
No,
mate?
non-profit, no. 2 down at 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Mr. Hill, is it conceivable that I might enjoy your services?
You mind?
Under the proper circumstances, yes. Mhm.
I think I'd like to get a little involved with this product, if you don't mind, John. Is this product which is involved in your service something that I could hold in both hands?
3 down at 7 to go, Mr. Lewis.
You perform your service, sir, in Tilton, and the service that
Is your question, is the service performed in Tilton?
No, of course not. I'm no fool. Does you perform your service, sir, both for the students at Tilton and other people?
But he doesn't do anything for the
No, the service is not performed for the students at Tilton. It
I'm
may
sorry,
have a
I
connection, but is not for. 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
I think I'm going to go along with Dorothy and try to get to the product. If you can't hold it in both your hands, is it something that is quite large, the product?
Yes.
Is it large enough to get inside of or sit in?
Yes.
Is it something that people who are not students might go into?
Yes.
Does it have means of locomotion, this special thing that you have?
No, it doesn't have means of locomotion of its own. 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Hill, can I rule out the possibility that this product is or ever was alive?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
If you get inside of it, I think you ought to rule that out.
I once knew 2 men who played a horse.
And Jonah got inside the whale.
That's right. Mr. Hill, is your product made out of a hard material?
At times.
Mm-hmm.
Is there metal in it?
At times.
Does more than one person get into it at a time?
Could be.
Is this product ever used in either entertainment or athletic events?
Yes.
I'm going to give you one more minute.
May I assume that this is not necessarily used in these 2 areas? Is that correct?
That's right. It's not
Is it ever used by the military?
Yes.
But it does not, it has no wheels, is that correct?
It has no wheels. That's true.
Is it found outside the house rather than inside?
I quit. I throw all the cards over. I quit. I can't get to answer it. What do you think it is, Arlene?
Is it an underground shelter?
No.
Submarine.
How about something like a tent or a structure of some kind to house people?
Telephone booth?
Beg pardon?
Telephone booth?
No, but you're getting close now. Mr. Hill moves houses and boats. Actually, I was afraid that you'd remember, because I remember bragging to you about it. We have a new chapel that is going up at Tilton School, and it started with the community church in Canterbury, New Hampshire, nearby. They gave us a church that's over 112 years old because they combined 2 congregations. Mr. Hill moved it up to our campus. He's an alumnus of Tilton, too, and we are now...
On wheels, I hope.
Oh, yes, we didn't... in pieces. He takes it down in
I
pieces
see.
and moves
John,
it.
that's one of the most moving stories you've ever told.
But this is great fun. Bennett kids me a lot about Tilton, but, you know, Mr. Hill is an alumnus, moved it, the parents got together and gave us a great big boost. Now the alumni are finishing it, and thanks very much, Brackett. Nice to have an alumnus here with you. Good to see you. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment. And now the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery challenger, for which the panel is always blindfolded. Blindfolds in place, panel?
Yes, sir.
Good. Will you enter a mystery challenger and sign in, please? All right. As you know, panel, one question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise this time, and we'll begin with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you a movie star?
No, ma'am.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Lewis.
Are you currently appearing or about to appear on the Broadway stage?
No, sir.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you appear in television?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cerf.
Are you above the average in weight?
Depends.
No, Bennett, I don't think so. 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Have you ever been on this panel?
No, ma'am.
4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Lewis.
Right now, would you like to be?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a regular television series in which you star?
Yes, sir.
Miss Francis.
Is it a series that tells a story rather than a series that is a comedian series?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Then you are a comedian, is that correct?
It's debatable.
That and other things. We will agree to that. Miss Kilgallen.
Well, would you describe your show as a variety show?
You might say that. You might. I don't know what others
Generally, we would say so. Mr. Lewis.
Has your show been on more than one season?
Yes.
Miss Francis.
That narrows it down.
Do you sing on this program?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cerf.
You appear rather late in the evening on this program.
No.
6 down and 4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
On this program.
Do you play a recurring character on the program rather than changing from week to week?
The same.
The same, basically. Mr. Lewis.
The same character each week? And yet he sings on the program.
Well, that might be part of the fun.
Yeah. Is your program an hour in length?
No, it just seems like.
I'm going to throw all the cards over because we're running out of time, and I want you all to have a chance to say hello to Mr. Soupy Sales. I must say,
Los Angeles. Thank you.
Ed Sullivan and sundry others have been lucky enough to have Soupy, and this is the first time we've had him with us. I think you'd be great fun on the panel.
My pleasure.
We have 2.5 and 1.5, and I know that you know that your audience span runs forever
Thank
and a
you.
day.
Don't discourage them.
But I don't. They just sit fascinated when
Thank
you're
you.
on television.
Thank you.
You've got a wonderful way with the youngsters and with the grown-ups too.
Thank you. This is a big thrill being on your
Well, golly, I'm sorry that I wasted the time so
I hope
badly.
you didn't bring any pies.
No
did you,
pies.
Sophie? That's good.
No
I
pies.
missed him in Los Angeles. They stole him
But
from us.
He's got my little boys doing this too. Soupy, thanks very
Thank
much
you,
for coming
John,
to see
very
us.
much.
Nice
Thank
to have you with us.
Thank you.
Well, I told you it was going to be a tough one, panel, and I think it was, but you've done rather well after all, and we'll all be back after this word. And so, Bob Lewis, good to have you back, and watch your Tabesic isothermics, and good night, Dorothy Kilgallen.
Good night, John. Good night, Bob.
Good night, Dorothy. Good night, Arlene.
Happy trip to Hollywood.
Thank you,
Good
Don.
night, Bennett.
Good night, John. Glad you didn't get any pies thrown at you.
And I do want to recommend to Bennett the American Collegiate Dictionary. That's what I want to recommend to Bennett. And thank you all for being with us on What's My Line?
What's My Line is a CBS Television Network production in association with Mark Goodson and Bill Todman. Johnny Olson speaking.